You've been holding it down for so long, carrying the weight, staying so strong. But it's time to let go of the pain. No more hiding behind all that is pain. You've been told you need to be better than the rest, running through life, feeling all that stress. But here's a place where you can just be, relax, relate, and set your soul free. Strong black woman, put that kick down. You're not superwoman, put on your crown. It's okay to cry, go ahead and breathe. Redefine the strength.
Hey, nice.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy pre-Friday. Thank you so much for joining us and tuning in for this special episode of the Strong Black Woman Support Group podcast. Today is a very special episode because we are going to be talking with some lovely women about their experience with the Strong Black Women Redefined conference that we just had last month. And I also want to take some time to give us some space to kind of like decompress and process the recent presidential election. We won't go too heavy into it, but I did want to be mindful of where folks are right now and allow folks to process. So first, what I want to do is just start off by allowing you all to introduce yourselves and tell us what role you played in the conference. Were you an attendee? Were you a vendor? Were you a volunteer? Things like that. So I'm going to start off with Dr. Akua, and then you can popcorn it off to the next person.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Akua. I am the Black Woman's Wellbeing Coach. I offer trainings and one-to-one coaching and speaking, all with the purpose of helping Black women find and sustain well-being. At the Strong Black Woman Redefined Conference, I was on the panel, and I facilitated a workshop, Choosing Me, reframing the strong Black woman stereotype. And I will popcorn it to Miss Joy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Joy Allen Baki, and I was a vendor at the conference, and I'm the owner of Safe Space Therapeutic Services, Inc., and we provide outpatient mental health services as well as holistic services. And yeah. And I'm passing on to Nakia.
Hi, I apologize for being late. I had some internet issues. My name is Nakia Holmes. I'm the owner of True Nine Accessories. I participated as a vendor. I sell jewelry and accessories and different wares. And I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. So is it TK?
Yes, ma'am. And you're
Hi.
fine. Your phone looks better than my camera, so don't worry about it. Okay. Okay, so my name is Teresa Kenny. I am the mother of Regina Kenny. At the conference, I was supposed to be a volunteer, but I got so involved in what was going on. I was here and there and everywhere. Workshops, spending money, just talking to people in general. So who are we missing here? Tika?
I'll jump in because my name is a little difficult to pronounce. My name is Tisa Chukwueze. I had the honor of serving as a volunteer. I am an attorney. I work in the cannabis and wellness space. And one of my passions is working with Black women-owned businesses and working on their legal needs, because I feel like there is a lack of that type of resource in our community. So that is me.
And I think everybody said their piece. And then we're going to welcome Joy because this is her first time.
Hi,
Hey.
thank you so much. Oh, so okay. So I want to start off with like a quick icebreaker. So what was like your standout moment or memory or favorite moment from this year's conference? Anybody can go first.
My favorite was just the all the different workshops. I mean, everything was so different. Everything was just so well. It was hard to choose. There was so much. It was just so hard to
Mm,
choose. And I'm be honest, the one I went to filled me. It filled me, and it was like I couldn't stop talking about it. And Robin, because you know me and my memory, right, Regina? So I'm not going to remember the workshop, but the thing that I remember out of it, and the woman, she was absolutely amazing, and I just fell in love with her. I said, "When is the book coming? I need a book. I need a book. I need more." What was the name of the workshop that you and I went to together? No, I didn't know you were there. You didn't know I was there. The first one. Okay, she's just as bad as her mama, but that's okay. But one of the things the main thing that I got out of it that really, really helps me, especially in the classroom. Oh yeah, the misalignment the alignment, getting yourself in alignment. Okay,
Yeah.
it's the 17-second rule. When something, you get this bad thought or something is going wrong, she said find something and just think about it for 17 seconds. She said even if it's just the good taste of your tea, something that's going to switch you and get you back in alignment. And that was something that I carried with me. And of course, the vendors. Okay, I got two of these. All right, it's silk inside. You could sleep in it, but it's supposed to be a pre-wrap headband. I can go on and on, but y'all go ahead.
So speaking of vendors, I want to hear from Nakia next. If you don't, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But speaking of the vendors,
No problem. So obviously, I wasn't part of the workshops. I did appreciate the curation. There wasn't a wide variety of one type or other. It was nice that you had two choices or two options of everything. All the ladies that were there, it was a well gelled. I think we all kind of meshed. Everyone got to meet each other. I ended up winning a free Reiki session from Joy, so I went. I just went to visit Joy, so it was nice to kind of branch out, meet other people because a lot of us vent together, but your
yeah,
session, it was a lot of people who I hadn't met before. So it was a great networking opportunity for us. We shared different events that were coming up. Tisa was great. She came over and was telling us about her stuff and just her law, and it was really cool. She went from my table to, to
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
getting the head wraps for Flacateur. So it was nice to kind of interact with the guests in the audience and know who they were and what they were about. I do think it was the ladies were like, "Ooh, hold this for me. I'm gonna miss my workshop." That was one thing. So I think like maybe during the lunch, everybody wanted to sit inside because there was stuff going on during the lunch and networking. So they're like, ugh, they wanted to network, but then they also want to make sure nobody bought their wares. So they're like, here, hide these. So I think for me, it was well organized from the flyer to the information to getting there and the table being set up from someone at the front. Telling and packing up and leaving was smooth and seamless. It was beautiful to be able to eat. So thank you for feeding us because not everybody thinks about us. So that was nice. Um, but yeah, the only thing that I would say is I felt like they needed like a 20-minute shopping period where they didn't feel like they were missing lunch and networking with people or also missing and running late to their workshop.
Nakia, what did you sell?
Sure, I sell jewelry and earrings. I was towards
Did I
towards the
get
back.
earrings
So
from you?
you probably did. You were right near you bought your head wraps from Flagora Couture. She was right beside me.
And that was the next one. Okay, so Regina,
Yes.
the earrings I bought for you. Okay, we got it from Nakia, and then I bought you. Okay,
Yeah.
nice stuff. Okay, just want to
Yeah,
know.
thank you. So no, it was a wonderful experience. This was my first year. And so I absolutely enjoyed myself.
so I'm actually glad you brought up that feedback because
Mhm.
and we'll talk about this later
Okay.
in the program. But I am doing 2 days next year.
Oh,
So there's gonna yes. So there is gonna be more time for shopping, more time for
Wow.
networking.
yeah,
So
nice.
yes. And so I didn't know you won a free Reiki session with
I
Joy.
did.
That's amazing. So Joy, why don't you just jump in and tell us how you felt about the conference? You were a vendor, but you weren't. Were you selling things, or were you just promoting your therapeutic services? Refresh my memory.
Yes, I was just promoting my therapeutic services. So as far as unforgettable moments, I think the whole experience was unforgettable for me because it was my first time attending your conference, and it was my first time being a vendor, period, at any type of event. Um, so it was what I liked was just the vibe was positive, and I ended up seeing a few familiar faces that I hadn't seen in a while, and I one thing that stood out was I thought it was pretty cool when I had visitors come to my table and they lit up when they had a chance to pick out some inspirational cards and stickers and bookmarks. And everyone that picked one of those items are multiple items. They felt like whatever they picked resonated with how they were feeling at that moment. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Sorry, I was muted. What about you, Tisa? Your favorite memory?
Oh my gosh, so many. But one that sticks out for me, this was my first time being at a conference. And I went to this session led by a Gen Z, and it was about building sisterhood. I don't know if that was a title, but it was very similar to that. And I learned so much from a Generation Z. And what I liked was the intergenerations within that session. So we had older women, and two of them had been friends for over 50 years. And they were talking about the ups and downs and flows of a friendship. And it's important to hear that perspective as well, with regards to like, what does a real friendship look like? What does real sisterhood look like? And it's not always peachy, and how to kind of state your boundaries in a loving way. And so what I loved about that is because we heard from Gen Zs, Gen X's, millennials, boomers, and we all contributed to that space, and it made it very special. So that was probably my standout moment. And with regards to feedback, there was like after lunch, a few people who I connected with very briefly, and then we had to go to a session. So I think next year, allotting time specifically for networking would be super dope, because there were just so many beautiful women there that I wanted to connect with. And I did connect with a few, but having a space to just network, I think would be a cool addition to next year's conference.
And can I just say, I think that this feedback that you just gave, Tisa, Nakia just gave, it just, to me, and tell me if y'all agree, but to me, that just goes to show the need for spaces like this. Like we crave this
Absolutely.
connection. We
Absolutely.
crave, yeah. So
Like
like,
more time to spend with each other.
Yeah.
right,
Not like, oh, it was too long. It's like, we want more.
right. Like I feel like that's a good problem to have. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so, Dr. Cool, what was your favorite memory?
I Regina, I gushed over because I was like, this whole thing. I've done conferences. I've just been in conferences. Like I was a conference girly like forever, and this by far was one of the best orchestrated conferences that I've been to. And my favorite part was just being in the vibe, walking in the space and seeing all different range of, melanated women laughing, kikiing, doing that thing that we do. Oh, girl, look at, oh, your hair. Oh, where you get that from? Oh, I want that. And then walking down that hall with all the vendors, I was like, y'all not going to take my money today. And I want you to know that many of you did.
Many.
But I tried. Okay, I did my best, but I didn't succeed. But it was beautiful. Like the vendors, even that space, the placement of the vendors, y'all set it up just so elegantly. And I promise y'all, it sometimes we do stuff and we think, oh no, everybody does that. Promise you, everybody don't.
Mm.
It was just the whole vibe. I did get to participate in a couple of workshops or some of the breakouts. I didn't get to do much. I did one, then I had the keynote. I just love the whole thing, connecting with people, meeting people, and just sharing our stories. And
Hmm.
it was like we knew each other. I only knew one person there, and that was Regina. And I only knew Regina from like the podcast. I
Right.
felt like I was amongst people I grew up with. Like it was literally a spirit of camaraderie in that space. Um,
I love that. Thank you. And shout out to Dr. Gaines, who is watching us. She was one of our workshop facilitators as well. And yeah, I agree. We definitely need these kind of spaces specifically for us, exclusively for us. Yes, there's a time and place for intersectionality and allyship, but child, we need our own stuff. Can we
mhm.
have something to ourselves?
And we
I
should.
remember we should. And we should. I remember my mother, my mom right here, TK. We used to eat like, cookies and drink the soda. She'd be like, damn, I can't have nothing to myself. Now I know how she felt. We can't have nothing to ourselves. And Lakeisha, thanks so much for tuning in. Lakeisha has actually spoke at the what was it? Was it the third one? She was the moderator for the panel discussion. So thank you so much, um, Lakeisha, for joining us. She says that Regina the Mindful Nista does an excellent job putting the conference together. Every year it gets better. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So the conference is once a year, right? And we learned a lot. We had a lot of takeaways, right? And so tonight, I kind of want to talk about like how do we make sure that we employ what we learn, utilize what we learned all year round at this one conference, especially since the recent events with this election, right? And so I sent an email today to my email list, and um, I normally don't speak about politics publicly because it just gets icky for me. But in my email, I said, enough is enough. Like Black women have been muling for this country forever, right? And to see this felonious pumpkin man get elected over Kamala Harris, Madam
Sorry,
Vice
did we say
President.
open cases and felon? Where else? What
Hello?
government state job could you apply for with an open case?
Hello? It's like we have been muling for this country for so long and we reap no benefit of it, right? And so I before we jump into the ways for us to employ these mental health um coping strategies and skills that we learn in the conference, I do want to offer space for everyone that's on this panel and everyone who is watching to kind of process like how you're feeling. We don't want to take too much time with this because, like I said, politics gets really icky for me. But I just feel like this recent election is just in real time that we are the most overworked, the most used, the most copied, and the less protected. So I'm going to end it right there, and I'll let whoever wants to speak speak.
I'll jump in first because my thought is just maybe a little different. I'm not quite sure if it's because of her color, because remember, Hillary ran too. I think it's a woman thing. I think we still live in the good old boy nation, and it's going to be like that forever. I don't care what at this point in time. a woman is not going to win. I'm sorry. We have too many, different, I don't want to say races, but there are some ethnicities where the man is in charge, will always be in charge. And I'm speaking specifically about South Florida right now. Okay. Then we have a huge Muslim population too. Okay, so there's a lot of different reasons. And then, like I said, we got the good old boys that ain't gonna let no woman tell them what to do. And it's just like I was telling my class, you got to remember that black men got the vote before women. That's what this country is. So they rather would give it to, and I'm not putting my people down, but a black man who was just not so long ago a slave, who did not have that education. They rather give that person, the right to vote, where they would give it to a woman who basically maybe even went to college. I mean, they couldn't do a lot with their degrees, but they did go to college. So I think it's more of that. Race played a part, yeah, yeah, but I think it's more of a gender thing. That's my opinion.
Anyone else have any thoughts?
I would
Yeah,
say, oh, go ahead.
I I think mine is just a little tweaked, a little different. I do agree that it's a patriarchal, country. I do believe that that plays a role in it. I think my biggest focus is, and this is not to take away from anyone's focus. When I see things like this, and the way I'm choosing to experience this, is how do I and then we take care of ourselves in the midst of it? Because what we're talking about is election results. We got the rest of, we got 4 years, and whatever is happens in that 4 years, and all the plans that he said he was planning on doing to make sure that that 4 years is perpetual. What are we going to do to take care of ourselves? And I think that's the biggest contribution that I want to have to the conversation, is that we do a mixture of allowing ourselves to feel our feelings: pissed off, confused, upset, sad, disappointed, disgusted, afraid, if that's the feeling that you take. Allow ourselves to feel those feelings, get in community, and find somebody and some folks to so that you can do that together. You can cuss and scream and holla, and then you can also be like, all right, sis, so what we finna do? How we about to do life? Because at the end of the day, we still got to do life. We still get to do life. And so, yes, all of these things are true. And I'm like, all right, I'm feeling what I feel, and I'm also making a plan so that I can intentionally move forward, because it is what it is. Not, and that's not a minimalistic statement. What I'm saying is it has happened. It is done. And now what? So that's I know that's a probably not where you were asking us to go, but I'm just sharing how I'm experiencing it.
No, but I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about tonight with respect to the ways to keep the momentum going from the conference. And one of the things was, engage in a support network, right? And so all of us are feeling these feelings, and life is lifing and all that stuff. So how do we figure out, like Lakeisha said, how are we going to do life, right? And for a lot of us, at least for me, I thought I had to do life alone, but we don't have to do life alone, right? That's why we have these spaces, this podcast, the conference, this group. So I would like to know, for those of you who were there, like in a few of you mentioned some connections that you made. What are some connections that you are looking forward to keeping that you made at the conference?
I would say, for me, like I said, just experiencing the Reiki experience, self healing and things to keep us stress free. Because one thing as a Black woman, we can say, how can we experience life? But we hold the weight of the world on our shoulders. Whether we want to, we try to undo that. It's an innate nature. And I also feel like that was something that the world is not ready for. A lot of us, want to say we're ready for change and all of that, but honestly, some people are just really negative and not ready for that healing. And that's what that Black woman would have brought in there. Because as a woman, you see people. We don't see, okay, Black people, we're going to go hard, but we're going to still try to make sure that everybody in the world is comfortable. And so I would say, to for me is finding ways to be able to, a lot of times as women, we get together and we vent because you understand and you feel it, but reversing that, and how are you feeling today outside of being able to have a vent session, but being able to like really pamper ourselves and care for ourselves. I feel like we are coming into a crazy time, and so I always remember my grandmother saying, choose your battles. And this is a period when you're going to have to choose your battles to be able to preserve your stress levels. And so I think those are important things, especially going back into the workplace after this week. Once he is in office, the power that some of these people are going to feel, knowing the type of leader that they have, and feeling like, oh, I'm going to bump you, or I'm going to say this, what you going to say? You know what I'm saying? Because this is my president. You know what I mean? So I think truly just navigating and feeling how to choose our battles and also protect ourselves as women and Black women especially.
Yeah. Tisa, you mentioned there were some folks that you met at the conference that you were trying to network with, and you were glad you were able to connect with them. Are there any connections that you kind of want to talk to us about that you've made at the conference?
Um, there was, I think, a therapist there who kind of she had a few resources of her own, and I've connected to kind of start that process because I've never done therapy, but I'm very much interested in therapy, and I know that this is the time. Um, I need tools, right? I think self preservation is important. It's a form of resistance, and you have to build that. So, having the tools, if you weren't brought up with them, is very important. So, for me, keeping the momentum going is seeking therapy and kind of promoting therapy among our community. I'm really excited to remain connected with you, the organizer, the founder. That is like probably my top, person that I'm excited to connect with because I think we share similar passions and similar goals. And I think we can work with each other with regards to continuing the momentum. It's being intentional with my resources, specifically working with Black women with intention, right? I want to work with them. I want to have a doctor who understands me, a therapist who understands me, an accountant, whatever it may be. I think intentionality there is very important. And lastly, with regards to the election, I have a small son. And I think about the resources that I need. I know there is blatant talk about prohibiting critical race theory and the amount of books that may not be accessible when he is growing up, the next generation is growing up. So I'm being very intentional with creating a list and figuring out the books that I want to collect and pass on so my history, Black history, isn't lost. So that's some of the stuff that I'm doing.
That is amazing. And I'm so excited for you that you got connected with a therapist that you may put. This conference was kind of like a conduit or a vehicle for you to meet with someone, face to face, have the conversation, start the process. Hopefully that person works out. If not, we can help you, figure out to find another. But I'm so glad that because you volunteered there too. So you volunteered and you also were able to attend the workshops and you were able to get connected with some amazing women, including a therapist. So I do hope that that was very impactful for you. And I would love to keep, first of all, I am going to stay connected with you. You have no choice, Tisa. I'm just putting that out there right now.
Likewise.
But you have no choice. But I would love for
Mhm.
you to keep me in the loop regarding that journey of you finding a therapist. So let's talk about like daily self-care practices. What are some small but impactful self-care practices that you've adopted since the conference that have helped you and that you plan on continuing moving forward? Go ahead, Joy.
Well, one thing, I started journaling again, which is I know journaling is has been really helpful in the past, but it's easy. I think many of us can relate to this. Being a woman, some of us being caretakers and parents and aunts and daughters um, and the healthcare field, just being on the bottom of the list, um, and we know what works for us, but it's easy to, I think, get away from that when we're trying to take care of everyone. So that was really big for me, with the journaling. And with the journaling, it makes me more present, more intentional, um, and it just increases my level of self awareness.
Yeah, I feel like writing things down makes it real. Because a lot of times for me, when I have thoughts, I end up ruminating and I just start spiraling and I be going left. But writing things down makes things concrete for me, and it helps me check the facts, because when I'm staying in my head, like I said, thoughts can go all the way left, right? But writing it down and like really seeing it, like, okay, um not judging my feelings, but okay, is this for real? Am I tripping, or are they tripping, or whatever the case may be? So good for you for picking up journaling again. I know journaling is something that is hard for me to do, even though I like to write. I'm more of like a creative, like writer, poetry, or whatever. So like writing down um, my thoughts to help me process is kind of hard for me. So I often use like guided journals, which I'm super excited that there were a lot of not vendors, but speakers who have journals, right? So like Dr. Gaines, who's watching us right now, she has an amazing journal. Dr. Akua has an amazing journal, guided journals. So if folks out there want to uh, pick up journaling, because like Joy said, it's so helpful just to see it and make you more intentional about processing your thoughts, feelings, and emotions and regulating. Check out, like, Dr. Akua has her Instagram handle on there. I'm pretty sure, I hope I'm not lying, but I'm pretty sure you have a link to your to get your journal there. So yeah. Anyone else have any like small self-care practices that they kind of like adopted since the
I have
conference?
one.
Mhm.
This was hard because I'm used to taking care of everything. And so I was like, damn, how am I going to intentionally put myself first, right? Like I I've grown accustomed to fixing everything, being the oldest sibling, being, the first to do X, Y, and Z. And when you're going so hard, your self-care sometimes ends up in the back because you just got to get to where you're going. So now I'm at a point where I'm like, all right, I got to where I want to go. How the hell do I take care of myself? Like, what does that even look like? And so that was a really hard question for me. I had to think about that. And one small thing I do now, because I'm a to-do list person. And I usually start the day with, okay, work and then family. Like, what do I have to do? But now I put myself on top. Now the first thing on that to-do list is, what am I going to do for me today? And it can be very small, but it is at the top. It is first. It allows me to be intentional about my needs first. So that's one thing that I have implemented, and I like it. So thank you for that.
Can we like clap for that? Because that's real. Doing everything for everyone all the time and putting ourselves last. And Tisa, I commend you for putting yourself first. And I hope this is okay, but I'm going to challenge you a little bit, right? So, you know how you mentioned in the beginning of the day you write a things to do list? Well, I will say that for me, because I'm a list person. I color code, I categorize everything. Listen, I'm a whole project management system in my brain, right? So another list that I started doing was a things I did list. And I write that at the end of the day. And because I'm the queen of categories, right? I also have a category for, did I do this for myself or did I do this for someone else? And if I see 9 out of those 10 things are for someone else, I need to start reevaluating. So I don't know if I have a copy of my
That's a good
journal
one.
here. Yeah, so it's
That's a
in my
good
little
one.
book that I created years ago. It needs to be updated. But Tisa, I'm gonna give this to you. Matter of fact, I'll give all y'all one. And I want you to write your things I did list. And
Thank
we're gonna
you.
report back to see if you was really putting yourself
Absolutely.
first.
No, you just elevated it, right? You just elevated my self-care. I love that. I would have never thought of that. That's perfect. That's a way to keep
Yeah.
myself accountable.
Hmm. So expect
I
more. So that's a powerful question. And since you asked, you're halfway there. Sorry, somebody was talking.
Oh,
No,
thank
that's
you.
okay. I was just gonna say I love that. I think to answer the question that you had, and then I'm gonna like gush all over the putting yourself first. The thing that the self-care thing that I took away from that was making sure that I gather more with people, with Black women, not just in the space of um, facilitating a training or workshop or whatever, but intentionally seeking out spaces to be around people who look like me. And we don't all have to think alike. It's just the vibe. There's just something when we get in the same space together that just fuels me. And so that is something that I've been intentionally doing. And in fact, I did a little bit of it yesterday. After the results came in, I phoned a friend and I was like, what we doing? Because I'm not going to sit up in here by myself. We need to do this thing together. And so that is what I'm taking away from it. And I just want to say and affirm, Tisa, did I say anything? Okay, I just want to affirm you. Like, that's my jam. Putting yourself at the top of your list, because that is not something we've been socialized to do. And we're fighting. That's an act of resistance. Just in the fact that you did that, we're fighting against what society tells us. And it's not just society. Sometimes it's mama, grandmama, auntie, uncle, sister, cousin, husband, wife, what, all the people. They got something to say about it. And so when we do that, we're healing a part of ourselves. And so I just want to affirm you verbally. I dig every piece of that. So go you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And if I could jump into one of the things that I learned from the workshop that I went to is cutting people loose. I mean, you hear it and you know, and you just don't do it. But I've been doing it, especially in the workplace. You know, being the chair of your department, everybody's coming to you to complain. But when I'm starting to hear those same old complaints over and over, you know what I say? Thank you, and I walk away. You're not stealing my energy. I need that energy for my students. I need that positivity for my students. And you're coming to me first thing in the morning, draining me, you know. And I was telling Regina about some person from a job that I'm not even at anymore calling me. Oh, da, da, da. I'm like, listen, look, you're saying the same thing over and over again. You know, I've given you suggestions. You're a grown A man. Handle it, and don't call me back until you tell me that it's done. Come on. And that's it. I'm done. I mean, I
Mic
had
drop.
a good day that day, you know, and then you're calling me. First of all, I ignored the first two, but when he kept doing it, I'm like, oh wow. The only thing I could think of was maybe his mom passed or something because he takes care of his mom. And when I got that, I'm like, you just blew my whole day. Handle it and don't call me back until you know I heard from him. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'm cutting people loose. Stop draining me.
You know, that brings me to my next question, right? Setting boundaries for lasting self-care. How, and you already answered this, TK. How have you been applying boundary setting techniques you learned at the conference, and what has the impact been on your mental health? And I can just jump right in. And I have been letting people know you can get somebody else to do it. You can get somebody
That
else to
part.
do it. My favorite phrase moving forward is going to be, I don't have the capacity.
Love that.
Get
I
somebody
love
else to
that.
do it.
And I might have the
I like
capacity.
that.
I just don't have it for you.
Hello?
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. And
That
so,
right there.
and next, that right there, and next year, the conference, the full day of the conference, it actually falls on Black Girl Day off. So I'm not telling y'all to call out, but I'm just letting y'all know that October 11th
No, remind
is
me to
Black Girl
call
Day
Call
out.
off.
out.
I don't like that. Remind me to call out. I'm doing it. I'm there. We're gonna have a
Listen,
video happy hour, whatever. Let me know I'm there.
I know that's
Hey,
right. I had a friend. She was like, "Listen, I did a no call, no show." I said, "Listen, I ain't tell you to do all that now," but she needed it, and I'm glad she did it. But Nakia, you was about to say something.
No, I definitely agree. I think setting boundaries is healthy. And people will get used to it, right? They'll be like, oh, you mean, but they know truly who you are. And so those
mhm.
who need to stay and remain your friends or your circle, no, okay, she she ain't there today. Like, we're always saying yes, we'll fit it in, but we're exhausting ourselves. And so learning to say, like you said, you're gonna have to find someone else to do it. Like I can come, but I can't participate in this capacity. I can show up, I can donate, but I just can't give you my all. You know what I mean? Like I think just not trying to be everything for everyone and definitely showing up for ourselves. So boundaries is
And
absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
and I
I was
agree.
going
And because I've taken ownership of that, whereas before I would get angry. Da, 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 da. Now, because I'm like, no, no, thank you, walk away. Because a while back, you wouldn't get that nice. Okay, now you're getting the nice and the no. Whereas before, you would get other words with the no. So I think I've come a long way, and this conference helps because the conference helps you to be who you want to be, not what other people think you should be. So, and the conferences have helped me come a long way. Just I don't miss a year. I missed one because I was sick.
I'd love to jump in and expound on that. Like one of the things that comes from this conference is, for lack of a better word, permission. Because and it's normalizing certain things. You get a room full of Black women, and you get all of these different facilitators and panelists and keynotes that are all saying the same thing, and you realize, wait a minute, I get to set a boundary. I get to tell people no, and the answer is absolutely.
Mhm.
I am the
That right
boundary,
there. Yep.
right? I'm gonna set a boundary, and like I was saying, you're gonna like it or you're not, but the boundary shall stand. So
Same.
I love that was one of the things that came up in the space, like just not just the camaraderie, but that shared, not shared experience, that shared, I guess, knowing that, yeah, we do
Mhm.
get to shift the narrative. We get to shift the narrative.
Exactly. You
Exactly.
got
And
it.
so just like Expect More said, set your boundaries. They'll either get used to it or they won't. And yet a boundary I shall set. And for lack of better words, we're training people how to treat us, right? Joy, what did you have to say about that?
um well, I mean, this is an area that I've struggled with for a long time. I think someone mentioned like being the oldest sibling, and then also being a therapist in this field. I mean, that, just caring about people in general. Like I'm at a point where I worked really hard to create the peace that I have now. And so in order to maintain that, like I know that I have to say no. And I struggle with that, but it's necessary. And so I learned how to do that in an assertive way, not an aggressive way, but just, you know, saying no and sticking with it. And then also taking space from people, um, like all different types of relationships that I have. I mean, and that could be from family, friends, clients, employees. Uh, just, you know, I don't have to let people continue to have access to me who are manipulative, who are um, selfish, who just have negative, toxic energy. I don't have to let anyone have access to me with that, you know, bringing that into my space that I've worked hard to create. So, and plus my son, I have two boys, and I'm modeling for them, you know, positive behaviors and, you know, certain things that we just had to put up with growing up. Yes, they are children, but they still deserve to be treated with respect. And they, you know, I don't, um, yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that. So.
Can I piggyback really briefly on that, because now I don't even remember. Yeah, someone said like it was good to hear other sisters saying the same thing, and that is the key word. It was confirmation for me. Being in a room and hearing other women with the same issues, but also learning how they dealt with it. I feel like I found a little bit of my voice. I learned no. Um, and not that I was afraid of saying no, but I don't know. I don't know if I thought that I could say no. And then I started saying no. And then I started saying I don't have the bandwidth and letting it sit, right? Bandwidth is another good word. I don't have the bandwidth, and letting that just be. It was confirming. The conference was confirming. It's a silly thing, but you're like, you don't even know that you can set certain boundaries because you've been trained or told that, you know, your role in society and your family structure and your, you know, whatever structure is to provide, is to help, is to whatever. But we're not really taught self-preservation, or that you can set a firm boundary no matter who it is. So it was very confirming being there. And I have implemented some of that now, and it feels good. So, yeah.
Doesn't it feel good? And doesn't it feel like a weight has been
does.
lifted? Because, like, let me tell you, I never had a problem. Actually, that's not true. I used to have a problem saying no. Then I got to a point where I had no problem saying no, 10 toes down, but a bitch was feeling guilty as fuck. Guilty. Damn. I should have helped her. She did this for me. I should have did that for her. Or, you know, I'm a team player. So all in my head, I'm doing this. I'm beating myself up for saying no. Right. So I'm still struggling with that. Like, I mean, even though I said I'm using the phrase I don't have the capacity, it's still like I still feel like guilty. Matter of fact, just recently, a friend of mine asked her to help me with a personal project, and I said yes, knowing good and daggone well I was not going to have time to help her. I half-assed helped her, and then we were talking about it. And she's like, oh, by the way, I don't need help with this anymore, this and that. And I was like, are you sure? She was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't need help with this or whatever. I was like, and then before I could finish my sentence, she was like, we don't have that kind of friendship where it's tit for tat. Don't feel like because I helped you with your conference, you got to help me with this.
I love that.
And I said, you know what? I never thought our friendship was like that, but thank you for saying, because I think she sensed the hesitation in my voice. And she was like, we don't have that kind of friendship. So stop. Right. And so she
That's
affirmed
one. I
me,
love it.
right? And so and the whole thing about setting boundaries and letting negative people go and not letting them have access to you, that's a real thing. Because if she was one of those people who were negative and blase, I would have felt some type of way.
Yeah.
But because now I'm on this healing journey, I have discernment. I am not giving people all this access to me. My circle is a lot smaller, is damn near a dot, but I have people like that in it. And
Can I?
go ahead.
And
Hmm.
that's what you
No,
need.
no, no. Finish your thought. I want to jump in, but please finish your thought.
No, I'm done. I'm all done.
I think another takeaway from this conference is along the lines of what you all are saying. Like, number one, we get exposure to the fact that there is a different way to do things, right? Um,
Mhm.
and then, like I said, there's that shared experience that we hear somebody saying they set boundaries. We hear somebody saying that they still feel guilty, but they do it anyway. Like, there are multiple ways of doing things, but we weren't socialized to experience any of them, to know any of them. We as Black women have always been socialized that we got to be the ones to do it. You said earlier, get somebody else to do it. We've been socialized to believe that somebody else is you, like you do it, like you got to get it done, right?
Sucks. Yeah.
And then we've internalized that and we set that up as a part of our identity. So it's not silly that we didn't know that we could set a boundary. It's not silly that we didn't know that we had that permission and ability to do that. We've been socialized to do that. So when we go into this conference and there's all of these different workshops that you can choose from where we're learning these different ways. I don't have to do it the way that it's always been done. No shade to how it's been done, because I 100% believe that the women that came before us put it down, right? They blazed a trail, and I think it's disrespectful to them to keep doing things in a way that's less than, because they blood, sweat, and tears so that we could do better. So I think our opportunity to honor them is to take it to another and another and another level. So to the point somebody made about teaching our babies, right? We get to do it differently. Maybe we doing it like this different. Then we teach them and it's this different. After by the time we get through the generations, we done turn that thing completely around. So I think that's another powerful thing that comes out of being a part of this conference is you get exposure to all of these different ways of doing it so that then you can start to say, okay, I think I'm gonna try Reiki, or I think I'm going to try journaling, or I think I'm going to, right? Like all of these different things are, you're exposed to all of these different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
to
I
your
think
point,
also too, go ahead.
I was
I
just gonna
think
say
also too,
one
if
quick
we
thing.
recognize, okay, go ahead.
Sorry, mom.
Oh,
I just want to
me
say
or
one
you?
quick thing about me. I'm gonna talk, then you can go. About respecting the women who blood, sweat, and tears before us. Um, and I think Tisa, these are the same women you were referring to, but there was a woman that I was speaking to. And she said she's never seen this before. A room full of just Black women. Different colors, different sizes, different professions, different socioeconomic backgrounds, right? She was like, let the media tell her we all ratchet project bunnies. Let the media tell it, right? And if there was something, so what? We're all listen, Black women are not a
We're all
monolith.
angry. We're all angry.
We're all angry,
Yeah.
right?
I'm tired.
We're tired, got a nasty disposition. But what did all of y'all said the same thing about the vibe? I felt like I known y'all for years. Fast friends, positive energy, learning from each other, being affirmed, right? So when I had that conversation with that woman, that to me, that was probably my favorite memory. Knowing that I did, we honored her and the women in her generation by saying no, by telling someone else to do it, by affirming each other, by being positive, by just connecting no matter what profession we're in, no matter our education level, our economic status, it doesn't, we were all in it together that day. Okay. There was PhDs there. There were MDs there. Right? Then there's little old me, one little bachelor's degree. I was there, right? Clinicians, persons with lived experience, people who have children with lived experience.
Lawyers.
Would you lawyers? Exactly. Hello. What? There was like 50 million attorneys at that thing. I was stressed. There was 50 million attorneys.
We need community, child. They. Whew.
But yeah,
that's a whole nother session.
That's all I wanted to say about that. I'm sorry, Mom. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. What I just want, I'm going to go back to a couple of conversations. What I think if we recognize where this need to do and not to say no comes from, once we recognize it, I'm sorry, but you all may think it's a stretch, but it's the truth. Back in slavery days, we were not allowed to say no. Okay, it's in us, and once we recognize that, slowly but sure, but if we, then we'll know, no, and move on from there. As far as this angry Black woman, I had to put somebody in check on my job. Oh, you're getting angry. I said, look, I'm not getting angry. I said, first of all, don't ever tell a woman that she's getting angry. I started, the B came out, I started to say Black woman, but I said any woman, because that just frustrates us anymore. I'm not angry. I'm expressing myself. I can't stand that. And this has happened to me a few times. Being a teacher, I talk loud. I have to talk loud. Just because I'm talking loud doesn't mean I'm angry. I'm not. I'm explaining, not complaining. That's what I learned today from one of my other teachers. I'm explaining and not complaining. But if we recognize that need to do without saying no is something that was ingrained in us and our ancestors, once we recognize that, we can slowly say no, more and more and more, and not feel guilty about it. That's the point. We can't feel guilty. Got to let it go. And I'm getting good about not feeling guilty. The older I get, the more I say that's your problem and not mine.
See, and I want to do it, Miss TK, where my daughter can say that. I'm getting into that space more comfortably as I age. I want my daughter, and then I want, my nieces. I got baby nieces. I want them to be 15 saying, well, that sounds like a you problem. Like I'm not intimidating. You're intimidated. Exactly. Those are two different things. I want to see that. And I think us doing that, I think that helps that happen, because we got the example from the past that you're speaking to, which it's not a stretch, right? We get that example, and then we begin to change, like I said, change in that direction for the ones that are coming up after us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I loved how
and the more the little ones see us do it. Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, I love
there's
that.
There's a delay.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this thought, and then I'll let you go, Mom. I just wanted to say that as far as like generations, how Tisa brought up that she learned about sisterhood and friendship and stuff from a generation after us, right? Gen Z, I don't know the letters Z, right?
Gen Z's. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just like you said, we're little by little, like we are chipping away at that norm, like we're re-socializing ourselves, basically. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can go ahead, TK.
Oh, I was just going to, tell the doc, keep on doing it, because the more the little ones see us do it, the more it's going to become natural for them to do it. And then their children, and then their children. It has to start someplace. And just like I tell my students, hey, they're 9 and 10 years old. I let them know, speak your mind. Okay. I don't care who it is. Speak your mind. Just say it in a respectful way, because just because somebody is an adult does not make them right. We have to teach our children from the beginning to think independently, and I told them when we talked about they brought it up. I didn't want to talk about it, but they brought the election up, and I said, first of all, we ain't saying that man's name in this class. I said, but whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, do your research. Just because you're a Republican doesn't mean you have to vote Republican. And I wanted them to take that back home to their parents, okay? But teaching them now and now. Think for yourself, because we're not teaching our kids those critical thinking skills. I know I'm getting off track, but when I start talking about my babies, I go off. Regina knows.
Yeah, I do know a 5-minute conversation turns into a 2-hour conversation, and she says bye 5 times, but then ain't another thing, but that's a whole nother podcast. So,
I
um,
love it.
so we talked about these things earlier on in the conversation, but um, have you pursued any new mental health resources since the conference? For me, I know Tisa mentioned therapy. Nakia, who had to step away, she mentioned the Reiki. I recently did a sound bath. That was very invigorating. So and I tried acupuncture. Anything else folks have tried since the conference? We talked about
Not since the
journaling.
conference,
Okay,
but
I've always wanted.
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Because all right. But just a part of my practice of staying sane through it all, I developed or I started going to yoga, and it's really helped, right? It allowed me to understand like the importance of stillness, right? Of
Mm.
just being with yourself, but really breathing, right, as the essence of like just life. I think I'm always on the go, I'm always doing things, but stillness is so important. And so it's kept me grounded. I just need to elevate it now, and get some tools, right? Stillness and yoga, these are all self practices. But sometimes we need to outsource and get tools for things that we don't know. And so that I know that's my next step. However, I definitely love what yoga brings to my, just my sanity and self-awareness.
Yeah, yes, I love yoga too. I love restorative yoga because like you said it forces you to set yourself down and really focus on like every little thing. I love doing grounding techniques. I like to do a body scan. That really helps me just like get in tune with my body and just set myself self down because I always feel like I need to be doing something. I was in group therapy one time and they said, "Well, what do
Oh
you feel
yeah.
like you need to be doing?" I said, "I don't know." I need to be doing something. It just feels really weird to rest, and practicing mindfulness,
Mm.
like meditation and yoga really does help me like feel okay with setting myself down. Um so we were at the it's 8:15. So let's kind of like talk about for those who missed the conference, right? Y'all were there, but for those who are watching who missed it, there are a few audience members who weren't able to come. Um, Tell them why we as Black women should prioritize attending this conference. And what would you say to someone who's considering attending for the first time?
Go do it. Post haste. Make it urgent. Priority. Don't play with it. It's however many ways I can say that. And I usually let myself like not jump in on stuff, but I'm literally becoming that so I am the annoying gnat anyway. Like when I find something that's worthwhile and beneficial, I'm like, you got to get it, you got to have it, you got to do it. And so I'm doing that in reference to this conference because it's important, especially now. It has been important because our experience in this country has never been stellar. Malcolm X said it years ago that we are the most disrespected and unprotected, and that has not changed. It broke my
Mhm.
heart. Not that I didn't know it, but it broke my heart when I was, doing all the research for my dissertation years ago, because all the stuff that I was reading about things that happened in the past, it could be a news article. Like it was still relevant to today. So if you're thinking about, I don't know if I should go, friend, sis, homie, partner, make it a priority to come because just being in the space, just being present alone it like I said, it's very invigorating. And then you get the added benefit of learning all of this good stuff from the people who are facilitating the workshops and navigating the space. Like somebody said earlier, just walking up to the registration desk was every piece of this was amazing. So if you're on the fence about whether or not to go, holla at me. Hit me up in my DMs. I'm gonna help you understand why this should definitely be a part of your priority for 2025. Not a game.
I love that. Thank you. What about you, Joy?
Go ahead, Joy.
Right. I was gonna add. I think it was ideal. It's ideal for someone like me, um, who is on the shy side, who's introverted, who is not a natural when it comes to networking. I would encourage others like that to attend. So it was a great experience.
Thank you for that. And so,
Tisa, you want to go
Joy,
next? Okay.
Oh, did you have something for Joy first?
I was just gonna say, sorry, I'm
Mhm.
gonna say this one thing, and then I'm gonna popcorn it over it to Tisa, and then Tisa can popcorn it over to TK. I was just gonna say, aside from TK, um, everyone on the panel, this was their first time attending. Dr. Akua, this is her first time speaking. She flew all the way from Cali. We are in Boston, and she flew all the way from Cali to speak. She not only did the keynote panel discussion, but she did facilitated a workshop. Tisa volunteered her time, and she was an amazing volunteer. But she was also able to participate as well. Joy, this was her first time vending at my conference, or vending in general at a conference. So, which was super amazing. So, um, the advice that they're giving you, the insights that they're giving you, they're giving this to you as first time participants. So that's all I want to say, and then I'll let Tisa go.
I'm trying to think of, for someone like me listening and just, someone who has a similar job or is, entrepreneur, whatever it is, um, why it's important, because at least in my space, it's predominantly white male, and you can feel very isolated. And it is so beautiful to just be in a space of us. But on a more deeper note, I kind of reflected on the spaces that are available to other people in the very little space that we have for Black women. I think I remember when the Obama Foundation came up with My Brother's Keeper Alliance, and I'm like, damn, I wish there was a My Sister's Keeper Alliance. And just the fact that we don't, there are very few spaces for us to be in community. I mean, My Brother's Keeper Alliance, this is something that, the president did to look out for Black men. But where are our spaces? And this is one. And so that's what I would say. There are just so few spaces like this that you should just go. I prioritize this, and I said, if there's nothing else I will do. I don't think I had left the house and did anything for myself within a year of, my baby's birth. And something in my soul told me, just go. So I just think, while you're prioritizing the world, just think about how few opportunities you have to be a part of something like this. And that alone should, I don't know, make you feel like you should just go to just be in community with fellow sisters.
Beautiful.
Thank you so
And
much
I'm
for
going
that.
to
TK, did
piggyback
you
off
want to say
Tisa.
something?
This is something that, yeah, I agree with everything she said. This conference, I'm going to look at it from another perspective. You get your money's worth, okay? You get more than your money's worth, okay? I don't even forget what the price is, but I've gone to conferences where I've spent $500 and I didn't get half, okay, of what I get from being fed to the different workshops. And I'm not talking about just one or two workshops here, okay? There's workshops galore. There's going to be something for you. 1, 2, 3. You're going to have to, oh, I want this one, I want that one, which is why I'm so glad she's saying that we're doing it 2 days next year, because it's just not enough time. You don't want to leave. You want to go, you want it to go on and on between the smiling women, the beautiful, oh man, the beautiful women. You can't imagine the feeling that you're getting from your sisters at this conference, and you're learning something. Your sisters are teaching you something. They're giving you something that you can use for the rest of your life if you choose to. Because I told Regina, each year I get something different that adds to it. Do not let the price deter you, because you, like Tisa said, you got to do it for yourself. Do it for yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And speaking of us learning from each other, right? The speaker application is live. So if you go to this bit.ly link, and I'll also post it on the website and social media and stuff like that. But um, apply to speak. If you've applied, previous years, apply again, right? And like TK said, we are doing it for 2 days next year because it's just so much. We don't have, like Tisa said, we don't have these spaces. You mentioned my brother's keeper here in the city of Boston. The mayor's office has I forget the exact name of it, and no
I was
tea, no
looking it up
shade.
too. Yeah.
Right. Like they have the Office of Advancement of Black Men, but what about
Yep.
us?
Yep.
What about us? I mean, you literally came out of us. Like, hello.
You see what I'm saying
Not to
about
be
that good old
bragging.
boy network?
I mean, the patriarchy is on and popping. So, so like Tisa said, there's very few spaces specifically for Black women, right? So we're doing it 2 days. If you are interested in speaking, please fill out the application. We're looking for folks to do workshops. We're looking for folks to be on the panel. The theme for 2025 for next year, the theme is less hustle, more flow, celebrating Black Girl Day Off. I'm not telling you to call out. I ain't telling you to do a no call, no show, but I am telling you that October 11th is Black Girl Day Off. Just saying. And the panel discussion is going to be along those lines: less hustle, more flow, how to redefine your success through rest. This is going to be a big one for me. I chose this selfishly because I need it. Like, I literally created this whole platform because I needed it. Y'all think I did this for you? I did this for me. I need y'all. I need this. And if you need community, to keep the momentum going, join our support group. Right? Join our support group. We do Q&A sessions with therapists. We have just groups where we just vibe out. I even have groups where it's called virtual co-working, and it's literally just us on a Zoom call with ourselves muted, and we are working. It's for the work from home girlies. Sometimes working from home gets a little lonely, and you just want to see another face, right? So we're literally in a virtual co-working office space, and I do it every day. So join the group. You can get information about the group on Patreon. But yeah, so that's all I wanted to say about the conference. Does anyone have any last parting words? It's 8:30. We've been on for about an hour, 15 minutes. I'll let Dr. Akua go first.
I just want to take a minute, half a second, to big you up, Regina. This space, the fact that you created this from a need that you have, they have this term that says necessity is the mother of invention. And you put this together, and no shade to the conferences I've been to, but this is not a Rudy Poo conference. Like, you put this together, it's very well thought out. It's very well structured. Like, it's top tier, to the point that I'm gonna call you Mama TK made. This was you're gonna get your money's worth and more than. The food was great, the ambiance was great, the vendors were great, the content was great, even the parts where we were laughing together was great. And you are the visionary, you crafted it all. So I just want to big you up. and hope that as we are all saying that we got benefit from it, I'm really hopeful that you are getting from it what you intended when you first started out, that first like support group, and that has grown into this conference. So I just wanted to big you up, give you your flowers while I sip out of my Strong Woman Redefined conference. But there we go. We sipping. All right.
Cheers. Salute.
Regina, did you tell them what your sister did? Did you tell them what your
I sent
sister
you a
did
message.
with her
I said,
cup?
go grab the cup real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna show y'all what my sister did. Okay.
Robin, where's your cup?
She's hilarious. But thank you so much for that, Dr. Akua. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I have a severe case of imposter syndrome, and literally, this is the first. Look at what my sister did.
That's perfect.
Personalize it. I love it. Make that yours, Miss Robin. Yes. I love that. Please tell Miss Robin.
I created
Yes.
a monster.
Wonderful.
She said, Robin is. I told my mom, I said, when she's drinking from that cup, y'all better not bother her, because she is relaxing, relating, relief. Y'all better leave her alone. But yeah, like I suffer from a bad case of imposter syndrome. So, but this was the first year that I actually felt like I was proud of myself. Because of folks like Tisa, who stepped in to help volunteer, Dr. Akua, who stepped in, my mom TK, who always steps in, sometimes oversteps. But that's another podcast episode, Black Boomer Parents, episode 11. I'm just teasing you. But yeah, because I was able to ask for help and receive the help, I was able to do less. So I was able to experience it more as how y'all see it versus just me in my head. So this was the first time I was like, oh my gosh, this is a vibe. This is a vibe. So thank you all for participating. I'm so looking forward to next year. We're doing it at the same location. We're just doing it for 2 days. And if you're interested in speaking, there's the link to apply to speak. We also have early bird tickets on sale right now on Eventbrite. We don't have the agenda on Eventbrite yet because, we got to get our speakers. But if you want to go ahead and do like Tisa said and just go ahead and jump on it, friend, homie, partner, sis, just go ahead and get it because you already know it's going to be great. You can go ahead and get your early bird tickets. But
I just wanted to say thank you too. So I wanted to first start and say thank you to Mama TK for birthing Regina. This wouldn't even be possible without you. So, we give our flowers to the founder, but we have to give our flowers to the woman who birthed you. So I wanted to start by saying thank you. And Regina, thank you. I would encourage anybody to volunteer because seeing it from that lens is beautiful as well. But it was really special. And I'm so happy that you did it, although you have imposter syndrome, because look at your impact every year. So I just wanted to shout you out and shout the mother who birthed you, because you birthed, this community. So I just hope you take a step back sometimes and see your impact, because it is why I talk about it, I promote it, and I'm sure everyone who attended does as well. So thank you both.
Thank you so much for that. And I know I tease my mom a lot, but she is really my biggest cheerleader. And if it wasn't for her giving me kick in the pants and encouragement and grace and all that stuff, I would have gave up a long time ago. Matter of fact, the first one I was going to give up because the first one ended up being virtual because of COVID. And she was like, oh, no. let me call my friend. She's a licensed clinical therapist. She's going to be the moderator. Like, it was like, no, like, it was not an option to not have Strong Black Woman Redefined. And so my mom has been supporting me since day one. So thank you, Tisa, for recognizing my mother.
And I want to thank Regina, and I'm so grateful that she reached out for help, because if you knew my baby was doing this all by herself to the point where it was getting to her mentally. And I'm so proud of her that she reached out, and I told her people will help. People will help. Then they're coming. You guys are coming. And you did it for her. And I love you for it. I love you for it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mom. Don't make me cry. Don't do this. We're not doing this today. We're not doing this today. And she's right. It was really getting to me. Matter of fact, every year before I get sick, I end up in the hospital. Like, it was like so. Every year I get so stressed out and overwhelmed to the point where it affects me physically. So she's absolutely right. And I am grateful for all the help. And I'm looking forward to cultivating our friendship, our relationships, personal and professional. I know a few of us have some calls that we are going to talk about doing more business with each other, because we need to spread the word. You know, we definitely need to spread the word. So yeah. And Jonah Art, the one who did the artwork for the conference, is on. So thank you. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience with the Mindful and Melanated audience, all of us who are part of the Strong Black Women Support Group community. Thank you all for taking the time out this Thursday evening to share your experience. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream, and we're going to play the outro music. And that's going to be that. So enjoy your evening.
You've been holding it down for so long, carrying the weight, staying so strong. But it's time to let go of the pain. No more hiding behind all that endless rain. You've been told you need to be better than the rest, running through life, feeling all that stress. But here's a place where you can just be, relax, relate, and set your soul free. Strong black woman, put that cape down. You're not superwoman, put on your crown. It's okay.